So how big a change is this, or are we just seeing a reheating of old money that was taken away and it's been given back?
Well, it's going from just over 2% to 2.5%. I think if you actually look at the numbers, it's about a 15% real increase over the years. Part of the issue I'm just a bit confused about, and it's probably because I'm keep away from politics when I can, is that at the most recent budget, the Chancellor prioritised tax cuts and childcare over any discussion about defence spending. Now we've got this pledge for the longer term when it does look, there's some uncertainty about who will form the next government at the end of the year. So I suspect there's a lot of politics behind this rather than actual material fact, given that it's happened just days after the US has finally approved the $60 billion of aid. That's the really significant package to try to help Ukraine.
So although the Prime Minister said it'll be fully funded, he hasn't actually explained how it'll be fully funded. So is it credible?
Well, as a former military guy, I would always welcome more defence spending, full stop. But I'm also a taxpayer, and I also recognise that the country's in a bit of a pickle financially at the moment as well. And I always feel it's a bit of a cop-out by just saying we're going to throw...
understatement there.
Throw money at it, because in reality, the programmes will just suck up that sort of money and it won't change the front face of defence. I think one of the things that we've learned from the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea and also the Ukraine defence of its own nation is that while ships, tanks and aeroplanes will have a key part to play, we've also got to find a way of getting innovation. Things like the drone technology. The Ukrainians are literally overnight transforming those drones, programming them as a result of their performance on the front line. That is an innovation that we don't really have in the military. And also, we're going to be increasingly reliant on alliances, not just ourselves. Therefore, how do we create training ecosystems for our simulators to plug together, not only nationally, but internationally? These are ideas that will use our money more effectively rather than just a carte blanche, sign a cheque, and nothing actually changes in defence.
I know it's a bit crass, but if we were to write a defence shopping list, what should be on it?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a victim of the planning process in the MOD, and it takes a long time to work out what are the key tasks. First one is defence of the realm. What do you need to do that? Second one, what are the tasks you want to do around the world? And then you run all sorts of scenarios to find out what's the best force mix to deliver that, and then you fund it. So it would be too frivolous to say what we would choose. What I would say is that the military has shrunk to a fraction of its size, between a quarter and a third of the size it was only in 1990. We had the peace dividend as a result of the end of the Cold War, but I think most of us would feel it does feel a more dangerous world today than it was then, and therefore it's not just about the budget, it's how we spend that money, how we get more bang for our buck. And also, if we're going to talk about international threats, we are going to be part of a coalition. For example, NATO is a cornerstone of our defence. Only 11 of the 32 countries actually pay their way. What about the rest? Why aren't we putting pressure there?
But you say smaller, but then, of course, technology has changed, fighting has changed, and the things that the army and indeed the military have to do has changed. So does that necessarily mean that we have to have more boots on ground, as it were, or does it mean that we have to have just more resources and more technology?